Hey everyone, this is Mario with Wayback Wisdom. Thank you for tuning in today. Today I wanted to go over how to set up an oilskin tarp that does not have tie outs. So we're going to create our tie outs today. So all you're going to need is just some basic cordage, either bank line, jute, hemp, whatever you have on you, and about 5 rocks. If you have a bigger tarp than this, you'll need more rocks. Smaller tarp, you'll need less, but this is my summer oilskin tarp where I set up sometimes as a day camp or as an overnighter, maybe 3 days or so. Yeah, so stay with me, we'll get started. So we're gonna take our rock, and you can find these anywhere. There's no real size, size limit. You can use really big ones, really small ones. The only thing is you generally want them pretty smooth so it doesn't cut a hole in your tarp. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our rock, and we're gonna kind of pinch it inside the tarp. I like to twist it a little bit. I find it stays better that way. So we'll twist it. We'll take our piece of cordage. In this case, I'm using bank line. And my personal favorite knot system to do this is just a simple slip knot. And then I tighten it down. I leave a lot of slack in the side because I like to tighten it down quite a bit. Then I'll just tie a double overhand, or even a single overhand will work, to really make sure that's not going anywhere. So that's how we're going to create our tie outs. So we're going to do this on all 4 corners, and we're going to put those 4 corners, well, our front 2 corners we're going to put up in this tree. Our back 2 corners we're going to stake into the ground, and then I'll demonstrate how to do our center tie out. So you can see here how we have it, a rock holding in, and that's tightened down with just a slip knot and a double overhand. Same thing here. It's just a slip knot, then I double overhand it where I want it to stop, so it leaves just a good amount of tautness. And I like to leave a little bit of tag here, so it's just easier to work with getting it all undone. Don't overcomplicate it, guys. Tying something to a tree is not that hard. A lot of people in the outdoors community like to use the names of a million different knots. And while that's important and something eventually down the road you should know, but 99% of the knots I do can be done with a double overhand, an overhand, or a slip knot. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And you can see we got it. Same situation here. Tied, slip knot, and then I double overhanded it where I wanted the tautness to be. Because I like it, I've just shot, like, I would say an untuned guitar string is about how taut I like my lines. All right, so let's get started on the back. All right, so this is going to be the same situation as the front. The only difference with this one is that we're actually going to tie it to a stake. And you can make stakes out of wood if you want. I just had these 3 metal stakes in my pack, so that's what I'm going to use. And I don't really do anything too fancy tying to a stake. I just tie a slip knot and a stop knot, and call it a day. If you need to readjust, you always can, but once it's on the stake, you can pretty much just adjust the stake to where you want the tautness to be, and it's just that simple. So I'm gonna go do the other side and we'll do our center tie out. I wanted to give a quick demonstration of something I did here. In this case, I just rumpled up the canvas and tied a knot around it, and it's pretty secure. I don't even need a rock for this one. Obviously I could use it if I wanted to, but with these little middle tie outs here, I find it's actually easier just to use the canvas itself than trying to put a rock in there. So I'm gonna stake this one off and then we'll tie up our center line. All right, so now that we have our 4 corners tied down, what we're gonna do to get rid of this slack in the middle, and this is gonna be kind of hard to show, so I might have to get an outside angle, but we're gonna take a rock and put it here in the center, do our same twisting motion to create a knot in the canvas, and we're gonna tie that with a slip knot and tie it off to this tree here. So I'll put this camera farther on the outside so you can actually see me do it. All right, there we go. Now we have our center out in the back, so that's going to give us a lot of room inside the tarp without hitting our head on the back or anything like that. This one's a little bit more difficult to tie out than the rest, but a few practice tries and you should have it. So now let's take a look at the inside. All right, thanks for sticking with me, guys. So this is our tarp. We got about 5 feet or so of depth of protected rain space. I would say probably about 3 feet of headroom, and it's about 7 feet long in protected wind space. So for someone like me that's 5'10", that's plenty of room, especially in the summer. You're gonna notice I left a lot of slack and some room here in the back for a breeze to blow through. That's because it's just getting hot and humid here now that summer's coming along. As winter comes by, you can drop the pitch on this and put it tighter to the ground to help preserve heat, obviously, like with a fire lay and things like that. These tarps are very versatile, and that's really why I like having the rock option instead of having tie outs, is that I can really set my tarp up in a million different ways, however I want to, based on what's around me at the time and the seasonality and things like that. So I think these tarps are a very versatile option. I personally prefer them more than tents. In the 1,000 or so times I've been camping in my life, I think I've only camped with a tent about a dozen or so times. So I really am a big fan of tarps. I use them 99% of the time. You can see here, I got basically a full twin bed in this tarp, and it's all covered. You know, if I was laying in here with someone else and it was raining, I think we wouldn't have a problem staying dry, as well as that breeze coming out in the morning to blow out any sort of dampness that might build up overnight. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. If you're interested in the outdoors, hunting, fishing, trapping, basically anything in nature, I encourage you to check out my other videos. Please comment videos you would like to see in the future, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.